Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can spot out of today's video, you have the top 3 shooting guard builds in NBA 2K25. So as you can see, we have a 6'4", a 6'2", which is a little bit on the fringe of being a shooting guard in the first place. But I'd like to think there are some people out there that can embody a play style like this and just be a secondary point guard, if you will. The 6'4" is the most traditional, in my opinion, and then the 6'7" right here is meant to be more of a third hash guy when it comes to a 5-out. So like, let's say, for instance, you have this 6'4" could even be your primary hash, and then this is your secondary hash, where you need in a 5-out to have 2 people spot up on the wing, and in this case, this is your weaker shooter of them, but it's still an 89 3-pointer with an 89 dunk. It's a really fire build. I'd like to think this is one of my favorites that I've even cooked up in this year's game. It's very original, for sure. So anyway, we will actually start with this build. It's pretty off the wall, and I know not a lot of people are going to be vibing with it, to be fair, but some people might really find an interest in this. So again, the reason that I want to make it at a small forward is because of the weight. Now, technically, all you have to do is be able to achieve a weight that's high enough for 80 defensive rebound, which, as you can see, is 236. That's why, very unfortunately, we're not able to pull that off, because if we were to go 6'7" with the 6'7" wingspan, because again, you need that for the 89 3-pointer, so that's why we're going in that type of realm. And as you can see, you cannot get 236 as a weight at shooting guard. You have to be small forward because it caps out at literally that weight threshold. So past that, I just decided to go heavier on the weight because why not? We're not really getting anything other than 80 agility because that's what we need for the on-ball menace. But besides that, I mean, we're looking at 89 3-pointer. Again, silver limitless, gold set shot. I'd like to think that's a really good threshold. 80 mid-range for no reason other than it just unlocks some takeovers that we would be interested in. So, like as just a good example for this, you'll see we have Midi Maestro, Make It Rain, offensive artist. The Make It Rain is probably the one I'm most intrigued with because it's going to be something along the lines of like mid-range, 3-point, and speed, as you can see. So you need an 80 midi to achieve that. And Midi Maestro just for 2s, if you're on 2v2, Midi Maestro is a really good take where it's giving you +5 mid-range out the gate for level 1 and then all the way to +15 at level 5. So just, something that's very intricate as far as those small fine-tuning things about the build. Same with like going 70 driving lay to get bronze physical finisher. But I know I'm talking a lot of the really nitty-gritty things about the build. Let's talk about what actually matters, which is, again, 89 3-pointer for spotting up, 89 driving dunk as a good lob threat option off the hash. You got it as a cutter, just in general. The 45 standing dunk's enough to get the job done. 92 perimeter D to get all these good defensive badges on gold, as well as also a movable enforcer is what we get for having the strength so high. So combine that with the fact that this on the hash is a really viable option for being a brick wall screen setter. That's what I've been using it for my type of 5-out lineup. Granted, we haven't ran it a ton yet, but with me at point guard, having this build on the hash is a really good option as far as like, it's good at shooting, it's good at dunking, you can use it as a cutter, a pick and roller, all that, or a pick and popper for that matter. And again, you think about the fact that it has a high strength to be able to have that brick wall. Being able to incorporate a build that truly is made to be a good hash spot up, to still be able to be a pick and roller and pick and popper is a really viable thing, in my opinion. I'd like to think this is like really valuable. So yeah, the fact that it gets the brick wall, a movable box out beast, it's still a somewhat decent rebounder. It's not meant to really be able to guard bigs, but if you were to try and vouch for a shooting guard that can guard them, it would be this. You got 6'7" with a 74 block for bronze paint patroller. It's still 60 interior, which isn't great, I do understand, but with the height and weight combined as well, I'd like to think this can hang at least decently on the interior. It's not meant to guard bigs, but obviously as a shooting guard, I'd like to think this is a good amount of interior defense. Now, 60 speed with ball is for Zion dribble style. It's really good. I'd like to think it makes it actually playable to be on a build like this. I understand it's a shooting guard build. We're not talking a whole lot of ability to put the ball on the floor, but it's still something. And also, this build could be a lot better with cap breakers created with, I think dropping the Perim D, 3, or driving dunk, whichever you would like as far as the fine-tuning aspect of it, would be very, very doable in that regard. And then you'd be able to buy back some interior D or maybe a little bit more speed with ball, or what my boy Zach did, Zach 2K, I'm kind of cooking up a build with him, and he ended up doing something with his cap breakers where he went along the lines of let's say just the 87 prim, right? And then boom, you could put 5 more prim D on that, and that allows you to get 80 ball handle for that silver unpluckable, and also Zach LaVine snatchback. I think 81 would actually get you silver handles for days, as you can see too, so that's probably something else worth shooting for. So again, just giving you some loadouts as far as what you could do with the build. But anyway, point being, it's a good versatile defender. It's very good at shooting, very good at dunking, can be used as a lob threat as well. One last thing about it is we went with that 80 vert for the area wizard on Hall of Fame. And me personally, I really do buy into the alley-oops as a threat on the court. I mean, if you get pinched off of this hash at all in a 5-out, this is really a big deal. And you could even argue this is still a decent lock build. It's not really meant to be though, so that's why you wouldn't really want it to be, let's say, the 3 on a pick and roll team where you're playing in the corner with it. Granted, this is a lot of 3-pointer and that's nice to have, and as a dunking option. You could argue it's an offensive lockdown in some regards, but minimum wingspan, it's not really meant to be the primary defender if you ask me. I just think this is a really good build to have as a secondary defender where you're playing on the hash defense with it, and then also on the hash in a 5-out. So I know it's a little bit niche, it doesn't fit a ton of molds, but in that 5-out context as the third guy on the wing between the point guard, shooting guard, and the small forward right here, I think this is a really good fit in my opinion. So anyway, that is our 5-out shooting guard slash technically more so small forward build. Also, in case you guys didn't know, I'm pairing with NBA 2K Labs again this year. So you can use my code Laker at checkout for 20% off of any subscription link that you decide to go for. Obviously, what you're going to find on here is going to be really useful information that we're showing all across the whole screen right now, but mainly to be talked about is obviously the jump shot data. So the guys are cool enough to let me show you the information from the 2K24 premium jumper data. If you want the access to the 25 year, you'd obviously have to subscribe to their premium and, you know, using my code as well if you would like. But as you can see, like, we have them sorted by speed right here. You can sort by every one of these different individual categories right here between the fastest millisecond jump shots. You can sort that by your individual height between the guards, wings, and bigs. You can sort by speed, green window, the early, middle, and late end of the green window as well, and then the total accumulation of all of that. And I mean, that's how I came to the conclusion that Terrence Mann was a really good base last year, combining all that information. Crazy stuff. So again, to be able to find something like this in 25, you would be able to just sign up for the premium. So what you're going to do when you're ready to sign up, you would just come over here and click register with whatever length of subscription you'd like to go for. After you hit register, it'll ask you to put in a promo code. You just put in Laker when you hit apply coupon right here, and boom, you're looking good. With code Laker, you're gonna get 20% off your subscription. If you guys would like to help me out, I get a percentage based off your initial purchase only. So a recurring bill, like if you get a 1-month subscription, I only get the 1 month that you sign up for initially, and then anything past that, I don't. So if you do plan to go for like a 3 or a 6 or even a year-long subscription, feel free to just, you know, do that if you want to support me. But I understand not everybody wants to go for that, so it's all good if you don't. Anyway, appreciate you guys for watching. Let's get back to the video. Moving along, we have the 6'4". Again, a very traditional shooting guard type build if you ask me. It's nothing super crazy in terms of the offensive or defensive investment, but they're both very balanced and very solid between them both. And as you can see, 92 3-pointer, getting that gold Deadeye, silver limitless. I know it doesn't get mini marksman, and you are 6'4". You could argue the 6'3" or 6'2". I put a 6'2" in the video. I know a lot of people will be arguing for the 6'3s, and that's totally justified too. I definitely get it. I'd like to think 6'2", 6'3 is pretty much the exact same thing though, and you just get a little bit of extra attribute points for being 6'2". So if you want to argue the 6'3", boom, just go ahead and change that. Shave off some points on the 6'2", the build that we create. But 80 driving dunk, super good value. It always is in 2K for some stupid reason. But Devin Booker, driving dunk package this year, that's the reason. It's literally quick drops, but just as good, if not better. Standing dunk can also go really high in these 6'4", so we have that at a really good level. I wasn't able to afford the 80 driving lay, but honestly, I don't think floater packages and stuff like that are really that important and like, you know, really justified to go for this year, in my opinion. If you want to be more in that line of getting the physical finisher on silver, definitely feel free to go for that go for the 80 driving lay. But what we have here is, you know, decent midi 82, good 3-pointer 92, with a decent pass hack as well for the bailout, 92 ball handle for a ton of SIGs, as well as you can see, you know, the gold hands for days, gold unpluckable. 86 speed with ball, keeps gold lightning launch, as well as getting the Darius Garland dribble style, which is by far the most important thing as a guard in this year's game. And being 6'4" is the tallest you can possibly be while retaining that dribble style. I know y'all probably already have seen a build that's very similar to this in our top 5, top 3 point guard build video, and this is meant to be more of like a tall PG or a park point guard. So if you want to use the build like that in the park, feel free to. But in 5, this is obviously meant to be a little bit more of a hash build, the secondary ball handler, playing the hash defense as well. 94 steal, Hall of Fame interceptor, really good value. Obviously 85 perim, with also being able to get that immovable enforcer. It's a nice thing, you know. We get that gold immovable at 84. You got the on-ball menace at 85, you got silver challenger at 82, so 85 thresholds where this build kind of naturally fits into really well. And also, I know it does suck that you're missing out on that high flying denier if you were to go like really tall, like long wingspan. Also, my bad, slight minor mistake right here. We ended up going a 6'8 wingspan even though I only went with a 92 3-pointer. I think I was cooking this up as like originally a 94 as a kind of capability, but that ended up being a little bit pointless if you ask me. And we ended up just going with a 6'8 wingspan, but 6'9 is technically the proper way to go about the wingspan with this, because we actually aren't really doing anything other than just the 3-pointer that would have been influenced as far as that goes, and we didn't even go to the maximum. So yeah, definitely 6'9 wingspan. Now with that in mind, you could go a little bit higher on the block, but even still, very unfortunately, you're missing out on the 68 block you would need for the high flying denier on bronze. And I'm not even here to say it's a huge deal personally, and even still, there's not a lot of attributes to really like you know, shave off and stuff like that. I guess if you wanted to, boom, just go ahead and do that. You can go to 67 block, and then you're good from there. Get the standing dunk maxed, and then boom. So it was really just dropping the free throw. Anyway, kind of sidetracking a little bit here. So let's get back to the topic of the build a little bit. Good hash shooter, 92 3-pointer. It's nothing crazy, but it's still very good as far as like being able to spot up. Obviously, the silver limitless isn't perfect, but I don't really think limitless range is a huge deal in terms of whether you spot up the hash or not. Most people are really not able to shoot from very deep in this game, regardless of whether the limitless is high or not. The physicals, nothing super amazing or popping off the charts, but it's enough to get the job done, and also the 85 strength for, once again, the gold movable is what we're shooting for. You could go lower on the agility if you would like, go down to like 77 or 76, you know, between the on-ball menace and the slippery off-ball cutoffs and stuff like that, but I just went 80 for the sake of the build actually moving decent on defense. If you wanted to go lower on it and, you know, penny pinch here and there and, like, you know, allow this to afford a couple extra attributes, you could justify it, but I just wanted to give you guys a couple of options in that sense. But I overall think the way that we initially built it, but putting the wingspan to 6'9", probably the proper way to go. So anyway, right here you can see we have a 6'2", 6'4 wingspan, and then 211 on the weight. Once again, we're going heavy on the strength and stuff like that, and it's once again for a movable enforcer, strong handle, all that. So as much as I really do buy into those badges and stuff, it's really just also, it's cheap on the build. I mean, look at this. We'll go all the way down. You know how, you see how long it takes me to get to 97? And that's even like, we're not trying to have the Prim D drop influence that. So between 45 strength and 85, that's literally 40 strength rating right there. It only changes 1 overall. And I think that's well worth, in my opinion, between getting bumpy on ball and just being able to have the immovable itself. Immovable being a tier 2 on builds like that are like, you know, 6'4 and below and stuff like that, or just in general. I think it's even like, actually, I believe it's pretty much any build. But either way, having the strength high just allows you to be able to have a badge like immovable or maybe dimer as well to be able to put in that tier 2 slot as far as the max plus ones. But anyway, again, 92 ball handle, we've already talked about it. 91 speed of ball, however, getting that lightning launch on Hall of Fame, and I would like to think this is a tier 1 that you probably want to use the cap break on. Now, the only negative to that, really big time, is that you're a shooting guard. If you're not really the primary ball handler, it does suck to use your max +1 on the lightning launch. Legend lightning launch is a big step up from Hall of Fame, so it's up to you as far as what you want to do in that sense, because there's a lot of other things that you could justify on this too, you know? You could even talk about the cap break potential that the build could have, where it's not like we need the max wingspan or anything like super high on the wingspan as far as anything other than just the block rating that we put, but you could just lower the maximum on that as well. So if you go a tick lower on the wingspan, that would allow you the opportunity to use your 3 points of 3-pointer on the cap breaks as well. Then find a +2 somewhere else that you would like, or redesign the build for it. You know, you could talk about like putting your ball handle to 90, and then boom, you can use those extra points somewhere else. Maybe like pass act, for instance. I'm just throwing some names out there, you know, but +3 3-pointer, +2 ball handle, feel free to, you know, it'd be something like that that would work out really good. But obviously, if you didn't want to do that, the build could be a lot more usable currently, because 96 3-pointer is really good as far as a threshold spot if you wanted to settle in below the 99. Because at 95, you're getting the Hall of Fame Deadeye and the Hall of Fame Set Shot. At 96, you're getting the Hall of Fame Limitless and the Hall of Fame Shifty. Now, if you were planning to use the cap breaker, I will say you probably want a little bit more agility, however, and that's something that you could argue put the extra ratings into. So there you go, 82 straight like that, and now you reach the threshold of when you put that 3-pointer to 99 to be able to get Shifty Shooter on Legend. So it's up to you how you want to go about that. Obviously, you know, whether you want to set it up for the long-term potential or the early game where you don't want to play for the cap breakers. But yeah, looking at something more along the lines of this. And again, we've already talked about a lot of these thresholds. 85 Perim D being really good for the immovable and the on-ball menace. 94 Steel being the Hall of Fame Interceptor. And then the speed with ball handle, 3-pointer, all that really good. 80 dunk we've already talked about as well. So we're just fitting a lot of these different thresholds in at different heights to fit your liking, essentially. Now, if you wanted that 77 agility, that'd be gold, slippery off ball as well. But again, it's up to you entirely. So yeah, this is a really good, I would say more offensive 2-guard build, because 6'2" is definitely something where I would like to think maybe you should run 2 6'2s. Don't go like 5'9" and 6'2". It's probably more along the lines of like, this is like a combo guard where you'd run this as your point guard and your shooting guard. Now, the point guard should probably have a little bit more pass ac. In my argument, I'd like to think you should have, you know, probably around along the lines of like 85, 89, something like that for the pass accuracy. 75 is good enough to get the job done, but it's not something you want your primary ball handler running, most likely. So this is definitely meant to be a shooting guard build, spotting up in the hash, you know, playing as your secondary ball handler. But I would like to think you probably would not want a 5'9" on the court while also having a 6'2". So totally up to you. I just want to give you guys these 3 nice options as far as shooting guards, you know, whether it fits your style to be a little bit more tall and defensive, small and offensive, or being super tall and quite literally being like, you know, not technically a shooting guard, but something that can still play the hash and be a really fun, intricate, different build. So anyway, just want to give those options. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to on noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try 1 to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put your favorite height in the comments, show support that you made it all the way through, whether that's 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", the 6'7" that we just showcased as well, or if you somehow believe in the 6'5", 6'6" shooting guards. I'm not gonna lie, I can't really give you guys anything other than just saying that that's the least intimidating height I've ever seen in the game this year. Is 6'5" and 6'6". They just don't really bring anything to the table, in my opinion. And it's really a shame when you compare it to last year, where 6'6" shooting guards were like literally the meta. It's like all anybody ran, for that matter, because you get like the T-Mac, you get the fast jump shots, stuff like that. Nowadays, there's no height to speed of jump shot ratio. That's why 6'7s last year took a little bit of a hit in comparison to how much respect they warrant compared to the 6'6". But this year, you could have a max speed jump shot at 7'3". It literally allows you in the jump shot creator to put your speed all the way up. So it doesn't even matter really anymore whether that's 6'6" or 6'7". So the only thing you could really argue for a 6'6" over the 6'7" now is pretty much the maximum 3-pointer, where, you know, if you were to go like 6'6" with a minimum wingspan, you can obviously get a 94.3 rather than an 89. But that's totally, you know, up to opinions and stuff like that. And 6'7" also gets that paint patroller as well as higher rebounding. All the things that made this build versatile and just a Swiss Army knife and stuff like that. So I was calling this the glue guy build. We had Salt make it. I believe Zach, like I said, made it too. Apollo has made it. So there's a lot of them on our team. And I'm very intrigued to see a lot of people just, you know, on a build that's capable to do stuff like this. And it fits into a lot of different lineups. So if you want to be the glue guy on your team, this is a really good look. But anyway, that's all the video. Hope you all enjoyed. Done that. Take it easy, man. Peace.